Welcome to Criminal Chronicles, the channel where we document verified true crime cases and historical criminal investigations from the United States. Today's case focuses on the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., which occurred in 1968 and remains one of the most significant criminal cases in American history. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia. He became nationally known as a civil rights leader during the 1950s and 60s. By 1968, he was one of the most recognizable public figures in the United States. In early April 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. traveled to Memphis, Tennessee. He was there to support striking sanitation workers and planned to lead peaceful demonstrations. On April 4, 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. was staying at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis. That evening, at approximately 6:01 p.m., he stepped out onto the balcony outside his room. Seconds later, a single gunshot was fired. Martin Luther King Jr. was struck and collapsed on the balcony. People nearby immediately responded, pointing toward the direction from where they believed the shot was fired. Emergency services were called. Martin Luther King Jr. was transported to St. Joseph's Hospital. Despite medical efforts, he was pronounced dead shortly afterward. The shooting triggered immediate chaos and shock across the United States. Law enforcement agencies quickly sealed off the area and began an extensive investigation. Witnesses reported hearing the gunshot and seeing movement near a boarding house located across the street from the Lorraine Motel. Investigators soon focused on this building as a potential firing location. Inside the boarding house, police discovered a rifle, binoculars, and personal items that were later connected to a suspect. Fingerprint evidence found on the rifle was a key factor in identifying the individual responsible. The suspect was identified as James Earl Ray. Ray had a criminal history and had escaped from prison prior to the assassination. James Earl Ray fled the United States shortly after the shooting. A massive manhunt began involving the FBI and international law enforcement agencies. After approximately 2 months, James Earl Ray was captured at Heathrow Airport in London on June 8, 1968. While attempting to travel using a false passport, Ray was extradited back to the United States to face charges. In March 1969, he pleaded guilty to the murder of Martin Luther King Jr. and was sentenced to 99 years in prison. Soon after his conviction, Ray recanted his guilty plea. He claimed he had been manipulated and denied being the actual shooter. These claims fueled decades of speculation and conspiracy theories. Multiple investigations were conducted over the years, including FBI reviews and congressional inquiries. Official investigations consistently concluded that James Earl Ray acted alone and that no evidence supported the existence of a larger conspiracy. The assassination led to widespread unrest. Riots occurred in more than 100 cities across the United States, requiring federal intervention to restore order. From an investigative perspective, the case involved ballistic analysis, fingerprint identification, witness testimony, and international coordination. The rifle recovered near the scene was ballistically matched to the bullet that struck Martin Luther King Jr. The case remains officially closed. James Earl Ray died in prison in 1998. The assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. is studied today not only for its historical impact, but also for its criminal investigation methods, evidence handling, and long-term public scrutiny. This case demonstrates how high-profile crimes are investigated, how suspects are identified and prosecuted, and how unanswered questions can continue to generate public debate even decades later. All information presented in this video is based on official law enforcement records, court documents, and verified historical sources. This content is intended strictly for educational and documentary purposes. Thank you for watching Criminal Chronicles. More verified true crime cases will be documented in future episodes.